Hi Reddit, I need advice about a moral dilemma that's been weighing heavily on me. For context, my ex-boyfriend and I broke up 3 months ago after a tumultuous 1-year relationship. Before I dive into this mess, let me set the scene. My name's Kate, and I'm 32. I met my ex, Ryan, at a charity event last year. He's the kind of guy who lights up a room. Charming, confident, and attentive. I thought I hit the jackpot. Ryan, 36, had told me he was divorced and taking his time getting back into the dating world. He had a cute dog he co-parented with his ex-wife, Sarah, which he framed as proof of his emotional maturity and amicable divorce. It all seemed perfect, but then came the DM from his ex-girlfriend. Let's call her Emma. Emma told me something that shattered the perfect image I had of Ryan. According to her, Ryan had cheated on his ex-wife with her, and then later cheated on her with me. She said she never expected to be betrayed the same way he betrayed Sarah. Emma poured her heart out, admitting that she was manipulated into keeping their relationship a secret for 3 years. When I confronted Ryan about this, he flew into a meltdown, accusing Emma of being a crazy ex and begging me to block her. Against my better judgment, I complied, but deep down, I never shook the feeling that Emma was telling the truth. Fast forward to now. After breaking up with Ryan, I decided to unblock Emma and reply to her message. What I learned was even worse than I imagined. Emma described years of emotional abuse, gaslighting, manipulation, and constant lies. She had genuinely loved Ryan and held on to the hope that he would choose her openly, but he never did. Instead, he kept their relationship hidden under the guise of protecting Sarah from further heartbreak. Hearing Emma's side of the story brought back memories of my own experiences with Ryan. The constant deflection, the half-truths, the moments where my gut screamed that something wasn't right. Emma's story felt like a mirror to mine. I started wondering if Sarah deserved to know the truth about the man she still called a friend. Sarah is wonderful. I've met her a few times when she came to pick up their dog. She's kind, funny, and carries herself with a quiet strength. The way Ryan spoke about her during our relationship always struck me as odd, almost too complimentary for an ex. He'd often say things like, "Sarah's the best person I've ever known. I'll always respect her." It made me wonder why their marriage had ended in the first place. I've been grappling with guilt ever since learning the full scope of Ryan's deceit. If I tell Sarah, I risk reopening old wounds. But if I stay silent, am I enabling Ryan to continue manipulating her? Breaking up with Ryan wasn't easy. Even though our relationship was riddled with red flags, I'd fallen for his charisma and the idea of who I thought he was. Therapy has been my saving grace these past few months. My therapist encouraged me to write down every instance of gaslighting and manipulation I could recall, a painful but cathartic exercise. It helped me see just how much control Ryan had over me and how similar my experiences were to Emma's. One memory stands out. Ryan once left his phone unlocked while he showered. I saw a notification from a woman's name I didn't recognize. When I asked him about it, he laughed and said she was an old college friend. "Don't be paranoid," he said, planting doubt in my mind. Looking back, I'm certain there were many more old friends I didn't know about. Last week I ran into Sarah at a coffee shop. She greeted me warmly and we made small talk. As she spoke about the dog and how she and Ryan still shared custody, I felt a knot in my stomach. She had no idea what kind of man she was still tethered to. The guilt was unbearable. That night I drafted an anonymous letter. I wrote everything: Ryan's affair with Emma, how he manipulated Emma into secrecy, and how he treated me during our relationship. I debated whether to send it for hours, staring at the envelope. Finally, I slid it into my bag and decided to sleep on it. Before making my final decision, I felt the need to confront Ryan one last time. I called him, and to my surprise, he agreed to meet. Sitting across from him in a crowded diner, I told him everything I knew. His reaction was predictable, defensive, dismissive, and full of excuses. "You don't understand the full story," he said. "Sarah doesn't need to know. It'll only hurt her." His lack of remorse solidified my decision. He wasn't going to change, and Sarah deserved to know the truth so she could protect herself from further manipulation. I mailed the letter the next day. 2 weeks later, I received an email from Sarah. She thanked me for my honesty and said she had suspected something was off during her marriage but never had proof. She told me she confronted Ryan, and he admitted to the affair with Emma. Sarah decided to cut ties with Ryan completely, even giving up shared custody of the dog to distance herself from him. As for me, I feel a strange mix of relief and sadness. I'm relieved Sarah knows the truth and can move forward, but I'm also grappling with the emotional aftermath of my time with Ryan. Emma and I have stayed in touch, supporting each other as we heal. If there's one thing I've learned, it's to trust my gut and never ignore red flags. I'd love to hear your thoughts, Reddit. Did I do the right thing?